Etepu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, haru nefer. This is Qesankh with another video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about P. Diddy's homes being raided. But before I get into that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. And if you want to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can scroll down below to one of the links and click on the ebook link, and you can download an ebook, one of 4 that are free, and start reading today. However, if that's just not enough, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 a month. It's up to you. You will get exclusive access to instructional videos, videos on the esoteric, videos on the spiritual that will teach you how to meditate, how to do astral projection, lucid dreaming, how to put together a magical amulet, how to do complete ritual, meditation techniques, breathing techniques. And if you're an Osir level supporter, you'll get all your oracle readings for free. So become a Patreon supporter today. You can cancel at any time. There's no obligation. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So, Haru Nefer, Grand Rising, Namaste, here with you at another video. And I wanted to talk a little bit about a topic that's in the mainstream media, and that's Sean Puffy Combs, his 3 homes being raided, I believe, by the FBI. And they're taking certain possessions of his as evidence. This has been in all the news, and if you're not like privy to what's been happening, you must be living under a rock because you just can't get away from it. But there is some information I did want to play for you that will give you a little bit of a background on this. And this is, of course, just to let YouTube know, this is fair use before I play this. And let's see if I can bring this up. Okay. And here we are.
Federal agents raided 2 homes of rapper Sean Diddy Combs on Wednesday, saying that he is under investigation for sex trafficking. The homes were in Los Angeles and Miami. Now, the producer and rapper and media mogul, one of the biggest names in his industry, has had to fend off several lawsuits in the last year alleging sexual abuse and even sexual trafficking. The multiple Grammy Award winner's allegations have set X on fire. A clip of artist Usher in conversation with Howard Stern has the performer talking about his experience with the rapper and how he was exposed to, well, let's just play it here rather than have me characterize it.
I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come
I mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
Meanwhile, Diddy last month hired the same attorney who represented Ghislaine Maxwell, part of sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's ring of abusers. Combs' legal troubles have been mounting with multiple suits alleging sexual abuse and misconduct. In December, the music producer issued a statement saying, quote, "I did not do any of the awful things being alleged." He has had to step down from some of his positions and now joins a long list of powerful men being taken down by the movement known as Me Too. What do you make of this, Robbie?
Well, look, I want to proceed a little bit carefully until we know more of the details being alleged here. Obviously, there was this lawsuit brought by a former girlfriend that was settled immediately with Diddy admitting no wrongdoing. She accused him of sexual assault and also sex trafficking. We heard from Usher there about the things that were going on in the house when he was at a very young age. Frankly, on tape there, he sounds like he's bragging about it, not traumatized by it, but who knows?
I mean, his body language is really interesting. He starts kind of fiddling with his hand. I mean, we're all just reading tea leaves here. But I remember years ago when it first came out that Usher had lost his virginity at age 13. And you can even see it a little bit in that clip, the way that Robin, Howard Stern's co-host there or partner, brings it up in this kind of joking way where we can imagine if the gender roles were reversed, no one would think of a 13-year-old girl in a house full of people wanting to have sex with her was like a fun or funny experience.
Sure.
But that's how we think of male sexuality, and that's how the society treats young boys. But it's a horrible scenario to imagine for this kid. And when you look at not just that video, but the fact that Sean Combs, because of his power in the music industry, has had such close proximity to an influence over a number of young stars, including Justin Bieber.
I want to stop there for a moment, again, to say fair use. But also, this woman brought up an excellent point. If this was a young girl, 13-year-old young girl going to P. Diddy's home with all this sexual activity going on, people would be up in arms. But because it's only a boy, people don't see a problem with it. There's nothing wrong with it. And she brings up a second important point is how Robin Quivers, Howard Stern's co-host, makes light of this, or this is being made light of on, Howard Stern's show. And there's nothing funny about this. There's nothing to joke at, And I have a personal opinion about how Usher just sits there relaxed and is keeping a tight, lid on things when he should be just stating the truth about what happened. And because if you are not speaking up, then you are laying the groundwork for other victims, other young boys to be victimized. So he needs to take a side. Either Sean Diddy Combs has not done anything, or he's a pedophile. I got an opportunity to meet Puff. What's he called? P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever he's called, Sean. I got an opportunity to meet him several years ago. And he was very nice to me, very, very nice. I had interrupted him while he was on the phone. I didn't know he was on the phone at the time, but he took a break from the call to indulge me. I had given him, I spoke to him and I said, you got to check out my new film, Bug, because it had just been released at that time. And I gave him a copy of the film, and he was just really just nice. I mean, he could have let into me for interrupting him while he was on the phone, but he was nice, and he took the copy of my movie and said he would watch it. But the girls were going crazy over him too, by the way. But you see, well, before I go on, I just wanted to point out those two things that she brought up, which were excellent points. So let's continue watching. Once.
There's been a clip circulating of the two of them giving an interview together. Bieber is such a young kid, 13 or so, preteen, a baby, being put in a situation where he's alone with Sean Combs as a guardian, with Sean Combs not talking as directly as Usher puts it there about sexual activity in the home, but kind of alluding to how much fun they're going to have together when he has Justin Bieber for 24 or 48 hours or however long they were going to be together. The lawsuit that you alluded to from last year from music artist Cassie, who was also a former girlfriend of Diddy, they started dating when she was 19 and when he was 37. She came out with these allegations at the end of last year, accusing him of sex trafficking and sexual assault. And it wasn't even 24 hours, I think, before they settled. And all of that went back underground. But it's not, I think, surprising because of all of the accusations that have pre-staged this one, that chickens are coming home to roost, it seems.
Yeah. I do always, and this is partly because at the magazine I also work for Reason, my colleague Elizabeth Nolan Brown, who we've had on the show many times, has done a lot of reporting on sex trafficking and how law enforcement has, in some cases, used that, has rounded up, well, in some cases, frankly, things that we live.
I'm sorry, I'm going to just pause this again because I wanted to just state a couple of things. I don't know if P. Diddy is guilty or innocent, but I do know this, and we kind of see this happen over and over again with celebrities in the, especially in the music industry and many in the entertainment industry. When sex trafficking charges come up or child molestation, the parents are quickly paid off. Now, of course, you can say that this is because the celebrity doesn't want to go through a lengthy legal battle and air everything in public's eye. But it's just curious how they're just quickly paid off, because I know if I didn't do anything, I would fight it. And these things have been going on for a while now. We have Corey Haim, I think his name is Corey Haim. He's the one that came out. He was in the film Lost Boys and talked about how he was molested as a kid in the industry, and that this is very, very pervasive in the industry. And people were making fun of his kid. I mean, it was just ridiculous how he wasn't taken serious. People were saying he was just getting media attention. And he even said one thing that was interesting, that of all the time he spent with Michael Jackson, he did not feel that Michael Jackson was a pedophile, that Michael Jackson didn't do anything appropriate. But I find it curious that someone like Michael Jackson would spend millions and millions of dollars to create an amusement park supposedly for himself, which is a draw for kids. I, as a grown man, would not be spending that kind of money, not millions and millions of dollars to build Neverland. That doesn't just sound reasonable, Even if I didn't have a childhood when I was being brought up, there's other ways to relive your childhood. And so I don't, like I said, I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson, and I don't know if he was a pedophile or not. I don't agree with Oprah Winfrey, what she was doing, trying to hurt his reputation, the reputation of a dead man who can't defend himself. So I don't agree with Oprah Winfrey was trying to do with her documentaries and things. But I try to maintain an open mind about this and not be judgmental. But there's some things that, raise a red flag. It's like building an amusement park doesn't seem quite right. And for P. Diddy, paying off these individuals who talked about sex trafficking doesn't make you look innocent. It's not a good look just to pay these people off. And furthermore, these people who are just taking the money and run, they're not thinking about the other victims, the other people that could happen. Another case of point is with R. Kelly. And this man, R. Kelly is just disgusting. The information that came out about him, I mean, I was appalled by what I heard. So we don't, I mean, him urinating on young girls, but we also have to blame the parents. You're putting your child in that type of an environment. And you know full well that these things do go on in the industry. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but let's play more of the news clip. All right. So we can dive deeper into this whole sick thing.
Libertarians don't think should be illegal, that are just consensual prostitution into sex trafficking. And also cases where something that still could be criminalized gets escalated to sexual trafficking. I mean, is she, really making the claim that, she was kept in a basement and sold out to other people, that kind of thing? I don't know. I would like, obviously he's entitled to due process, and just, the fact that he settled a lawsuit from a former romantic partner doesn't mean he's guilty of anything. Now, this is the feds raiding him, taking evidence, gathering information. So there very well may be more to it now. And of course, I am uncomfortable with the idea of young people, young men, but still young people being exposed at that age to, if they were, to gratuitous sexual content.
That's right. Assuming that the woman who took Usher's virginity was an adult, that's rape. That's statutory rape. He was 13 years old, and it's so difficult to, you know, again, the way we think of young boys versus young girls is so radically different, and I believe inappropriately so. But it is against the law, and young boys are vulnerable. The Cassie complaint wasn't the only one from last year. In December, a Canadian woman identified only as Jane Doe said she was sex trafficked and gang raped back in 2003 when she was 17 and an 11th grader. In that lawsuit, I'm reading from ABC News, it names Combs and former Bad Boy Entertainment president Harvey Pierre, and an unidentified third defendant, and claims that Pierre and the third unnamed defendant approached the teen at a lounge in Detroit, Michigan, where Pierre allegedly told her he was best friends with Combs and proceeded to call him. The suit apparently contains photos and claims Pierre and the unnamed defendant convinced the teen to take a private jet to Combs' studio in New York City, where she alleges she was plied with drugs and alcohol and gang raped by the three defendants. That sort of a narrative, again, that's just an allegation. We don't know if it's true, but that sort of a narrative starts to map on more closely to what we think of as, I think you would agree, a more concrete allegation of sex trafficking, the likes of which we saw with the Epstein case. Going out and recruiting young girls, bringing them back to a house, plying them with certain kinds of drugs and the like, I think starts to get a lot closer to a more traditional definition of that term.
Sure. Although with the Epstein case, these were underage girls we were talking about. Which I don't know if that's an element of the, I mean, we're talking 17-year-olds, which can be underage depending on what state you're in, frankly.
Well, let me say this. I have been exposed to this all the time. I'll tell you this. When I'm in the Las Vegas clubs, and usually when I go talk to women there, they have to be very, very attractive for me to talk to them. And I'm not saying that from an ego perspective. Let me put this in context. Is because I don't like the idea of the term "some woman is out of your league," or guys who get nervous and fall apart because she's so beautiful. I like to show that, hey, you know what, that doesn't matter. That type of beauty doesn't matter. And that's why I approach not young women, but women who are very, very attractive. Just so happens that they're in their 20s and their 30s. So when I approach them, I approach them to show guys that I'm not in awe about their beauty and that they're just, human beings, But as I hold conversations with them, it happens a lot of times where security will come and pull the women away from me. And there's two reasons for this. Number one, they may offer these girls to get a private table, which I don't see how it's a benefit to the girls, but they offer these girls a private table. And many a times they pull the women because they tell the women, would you like to go to the DJ booth and meet the DJ? And this is what they do. Now, when you're pulling these women to go meet the DJ, there's an understanding of what's going to happen. After that, you're going to go back to the DJ's room. And then in many cases, there's going to be drugs, there's going to be alcohol. But it's not called drugs, it's called party favors. And there's going to be alcohol and things of that nature. So even in my experiences where I'm not meeting a P. Diddy or all these other celebrities, though I've met them, but where my circle is, even I am encountering these so-called predators who are pulling girls so that these girls can be used by certain entertainment industry people. You know what I mean? So even I see it and witness to it and experience it. And the first time it happened, I was wondering what's going on. Why is security pulling the girls away? And then I saw that they were getting either the private booth with the drinks or going back to the DJ. One woman who I was with, I had just met her and we had a chemistry immediately. Security came over and asked her would she like to go to meet the DJ. And she was like, yeah, only if I can take Qesankh. And I went with her and I went back there with the DJ. I'm sure the DJ wasn't happy that the girl he liked and wanted to meet was bringing this guy, So I was there and I waited for a while. I got bored, actually. And I told the girl, listen, I'm going to go back to the dance floor where I was having more fun. And she was like, well, take my number. When I'm ready to go, I'm going to text you. I'm like, okay, all right. So this whole thing operates on many different levels. So I want you to understand what goes on. So anyway, let's go back to this. And again, I'm going to say fair use. Okay.
Or if you now transporting them over state lines, it gets
Right.
into a national law is different from the state laws, so could very well be something criminal in there. But it's a interesting situation that obviously we need to learn more about. Diddy being someone, if you grew up in the 90s, was a very pivotal figure in the music from that era, and as we're talking about, did contribute to the careers of even more also very famous to this day musical people from that era and the subsequent era, like Usher, like Justin Bieber and others. So
yes, and that power, I think, has to be a dynamic here. I mean, when we're talking about the Weinstein case, it's prototypical Me Too case. Part of why it was able to remain an open secret for so long in Hollywood was because he was such a powerful person in that industry, and what he thought of you and what your reputation was could sink or swim careers. And I do wonder to what extent these kind of rumors about P. Diddy haven't gone more explosive or had resulted in accountability. Maybe they're not true, but also what role did not wanting to be on the outs of someone who is such a mogul in this arena play here? Cassie coming out with these accusations.
Pressure to seem cool.
Let's get something straight. Harvey Weinstein was a sacrificial lamb. He was one among many predators in the Hollywood system. But see, by throwing Harvey to Mr. Weinstein, however he's called, to the wolves, it appeased the media. And you notice how the media went away. This problem is pervasive. It's throughout the industry. And it's by many, many individuals who are responsible for this. And not even I, knew the how widespread it was until recently. Just they announced the new Beetlejuice movie, and I was watching a trailer. I was watching what happened to the father. I forgot his name as the actor. I forgot the actor's name. But, they show the entire cast, and I'm like, well, there was a father, like, where is he, And let me see if I can pull up his name. Beetlejuice cast, the original Beetlejuice cast. Jeffrey Jones is his name. Come to find out that the reason he's not in the new Beetlejuice movie is because he was caught with sexually explicit material of young children. And so, I mean, this is just ridiculous how how large this is. This whole pedophile sex trafficking. But we should have realized that with Jeffrey Epstein and his list. But what you have is you have these token guys who, again, are thrown to the wolves just to appease the media, to make it seem like something's being done, but reality, it's not. People are closed-lipped. They're not speaking up. And if you're coming out 20 years later saying, oh, he abused me, He that's ridiculous. You are responsible then for all of those victims that came after you because you did not speak up. You waited 20 years. That's ridiculous. That's like me living through a horrible slasher movie, or like Jason. He's in this room and I make it outside the room, and then you're going to walk in the room and I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tell you that there's a mass murderer in that room until you go in there. And then if you survive and you come out, the question you would ask is, well, why didn't you say something, Qesankh? So this is what these people are doing, like Usher, who are keeping quiet. And I know that there are powerful forces in this industry, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that.
To this guy,
right? And not just seem cool, but not get blacklisted because you've accused him of something that he could be sent to jail for. I mean, Cassie, coming out now, she's an adult. Her career is over. She was kind of a teen star back when I was in college. I think we're about age contemporaries approximately. It is, I do wonder how much the pressures of no longer needing those the kind of career validation going away might have enabled her to come forward when she did. And again, that case was settled, but there was no legal judgment about what happening there. One other thing that is worth mentioning is that there was a super viral Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharpe. It's got to be a couple of months ago now. And it was long. He was spilling the tea on a lot of different celebrities and feuds. Cat Williams was comedian. Talking about a lot of different Black celebrities in particular. And people have revisited that interview for some hints about what may or may not be coming. And now Cat Williams was right is trending in certain corners of the internet. That's the thing about celebrities like this. There's so much commentary. People do so many podcasts. People do so many interviews. P. Diddy has had such a long career. I'm struggling to remember which name I'm supposed to be calling him because we've gone through the
I think it's just
Diddy,
now,
P.
right?
Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs. I'm a woman of a certain generation. It can't be helped. I'll try not to.
I think he's just Diddy.
I think he's just Diddy. Okay.
Diddy Kong.
But there is a lot more that I suspect is going to come out in the near future, and we'll be here to cover it.
Wasn't it the case that right before all the Bill Cosby stuff came out, there were just comedians? It was like Weinstein. There were comedians who would joke about it before it hit. So like people knew it was this underground kind of like really industry secret. It was within people connected in the industry.
And here's what he said, by the way, in that interview. He said, Cat Williams said, I got to protect my integrity because if P. Diddy be wanting a party and you got to tell him no, ... The implication being that apparently it's a known at very least that he has some wild things going down at his parties, at his house or elsewhere. So stay tuned. We'll let you know if there's any more to know about this particular story. We've got a lot more rising coming up after this.
But you see, everybody's acting like this is something really new.
Diddy all smiles amid sex trafficking allegations, civil law.
This is something that has been with us for a while. Even Eddie Murphy, I heard stories of Eddie Murphy and certain parties and things going on, and he was seen in certain compromising positions by certain celebrities who are kind of making like a joke about it, but it's kind of like serious in a way, These Hollywood parties do go on, and crazy things be happening at these parties. So if you invited to them, just understand what's going to happen. I had a young friend of mine. She was like, got invited to some MTV party and all that. And I told her, I said, well, just make sure, I want you to understand what you're getting into when you go to these parties, And she kind of like just blew me off like I was crazy. Several months later, I asked her about it and she didn't want to talk about it. She was like, oh, that's just, yeah, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I'm like, so these things happen. And I'm just tired of the industry pretending like it doesn't and only penalizing one or two individuals when there needs to be an investigation on the entire industry about what's going on here. But the thing I wanted to really mention about this is, the reason why it took me so long to comment on this or to bring this to light on my channel is that this kind of thing is something that we Black people don't need to be so entrenched in. Now, any type of sex trafficking or essaying of a minor is always something we should be paying attention to. But what I find that's very problematic in the Black community is that we don't pay attention to certain things until it's affecting one of our mainstream rappers or sports figures. You see, the media, which is all about mind manipulation, ritualistic practices, knows how to get at Black people emotionally. And they know that to us, people like P. Diddy and Megan Thee Stallion and all of these celebrities are like gods to us. We're very much into idol worship, to the extent of we're very myopic in our view. If it doesn't involve a mainstream celebrity or rap or sports, we're not interested in it. And we've been conditioned to be that way, because the media has set out from the very beginning to marginalize intelligent Black men who have high moral values. It has put those men on the peripheral to highlight the street thug, the P. Diddy's, the 50 Cents. And these people have checkered past. And yet Black people hold them up in such high regards. And that's wrong. So when something like this happens to a P. Diddy, we're very much ones to jump and say conspiracy theory. They're just trying to bring down another Black man. There are many successful Black men who are not targets, but that we don't, or might be targets, but we don't care about because they're not dealing in rap and the hip hop game and sports. You see, we've been manipulated by this white supremacist mainstream media to only care about the rappers and the athletes because that's the only thing that's been put in front of us for us to aspire to be. They have taken away historical men and women. You see, we actually think that slavery is our history. Slavery is a grain of sand in all the beaches of the world. That is part of our history. That is how big slavery was, that little grain of sand on the beach. And we ignore everything else about how advanced of a people we were, not just in technology, but morally. Morally. So we don't know the names of inventors, Black inventors. We don't know the name of historic Black queens. And when they dupe us and make a movie about these savage Black women, savage is what they were. The woman king, we eat it up. We don't care that it shows us in jungle attire, acting all primitive. But they dare not show the images of us as great kings and queens and rulers over nations. How the Moors conquered Spain. How we were the citizens of Atlantis. We don't even realize that history that was once called primitive, we're now finding out that it was anything but primitive, that it was our history is one of technological achievements that far surpass anything that we have today. You don't believe me? Then tell me how they built the pyramids. But see, they have duped us with media mind control to only care about rap and hip hop, because you see, Black culture, hip hop is Black culture. And that is so sinister how they do that. Because all hip hop is the beats, the lyrics, it's the dumbing down of a people, specifically meant to dumb you down. Those beats, those rhythms per minute are specifically tuned to the right brain to make you stupid, to put you into a state of stupor. So when I ask you about Dr. Ben Jamaikanen and Dr. John Henry Clark, you don't even know who they are. But you know who Nicki Minaj is. You know who P. Diddy is. You see, they have replaced the intelligent Black man and Black woman with these depraved images. Sexy Red, Megan Thee Stallion. These images are specifically crafted to dumb you down and to make you a savage by getting you to operate on your emotions and not your intellect. They know the music appeals to the emotional center of the brain. They know this, which is why this music that we call rap, hip hop, gangster rap is allowed to permeate the Black community, but they would never dare have that music in the Jewish community or in the white community at large. They would never. They would never talk about how rap and hip hop is white culture. They would never do that. And instead of us calling out what's happening and what they're doing by marginalizing intelligent Black men and women, by showcasing them in the mainstream media, instead of us calling that out, we support more of the garbage. Deplorable images. We support that in droves. But we don't say, hey, wait a minute, where's the intelligent roles? Why doesn't Tyler Perry do movies of intelligent Black men and women? Why is it always him in a dress? You should ask these questions because you're being manipulated. You see, the media is a filter. We, as a people, have no control over that filter. That filter filters out the accomplishments, the true history of our people, to only allow images that are, I mean, how do you even say it? Disgusting and depraved images to be shown. That's only the images that are allowed to be shown. Listen, I want you to donate to the channel if you like this message. Your donation allows me to keep making more videos. And we've got to get this message out there and let our people know of how we are being manipulated through the media. They're only allowing us to see certain things. They don't want you to see the hieroglyphics of things like airplanes, light bulbs that the ancient Kemetic people were experimenting with. They don't want you to know that the ancient Kemetic people astral projected to other planets to communicate with the dead, that had lasers, had modern tools. They don't want you to know all of this. So they keep it within their academic circles. And every now and then they'll show it to you, but you don't care about it. They've gotten you so to the point of where your mind is so warped, you don't care about that. You don't thirst for it. You should have a thirst and passion for our history, our true history. And you should be rejecting the slave narrative that they keep pumping out there. All right? All right, so go out there and I want you to fight the good fight. And again, don't forget to donate if you're in a position to do so. This is Qesankh Ma'akeperu, son of Ma'an Tahuti. Ma'at is the beautiful goddess Heru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.